Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
A quorum is present.
Public comment, any person wishing to address the council on any item on today's agenda other than the public hearing may do so at this time.
Good afternoon. My name is Diane Sombrano, and I'm going to go ahead and once again point out that even though you decided that we should have the meetings of the daytime for all the seniors, that you gave credence to a petition that was not actually a real petition, still don't have any of those people other than that one day. But the gal who brought them is a commissioner. So I'm going to keep pointing that out forever. With regard to, well, I want to say thank you for the concept on the Berkshire, wherever it went. What number is that? DR1, that it is one of those great contracts where they won't get paid unless they actually perform. I think that's the way most of our contracts should be. But, you know, that doesn't happen so often. So I want to thank that option. That's great. But then I'm going to point out that among the things I expect two people not to vote for at all, because you ought to abstain, you were not here for any of those closed session meetings that are referred to in the minutes of February and April. February and April, and this is August. So I expect a couple abstentions, because you can't know, hopefully, what happened in closed session in those meetings, because you weren't there. And anything that you were told that happened in those meetings at this point is someone's recollection other than your own. And that's several millions of dollars for the ROPS and the redevelopment agency documents that, well, they were in closed session. Okay, let's go back to, where's that other fun one? When we get to the DR2, the third quarter budget review report. I'm so grateful we have that. The one thing that frightens me on it is that once again, just like years gone by, over and over and over again, we do the same old thing. One-time revenue is what we hang our hat on. We did that when we sold our property to us. Remember that? Yeah, most of us do. We remember when, well, we got a payout for somebody else when we gave them a contract in exchange for a multi-million-dollar contract. They're going to give us some startup money and rely on that again. So once again, it's one-time revenue that our budget is hinged on. And that's how we got into the problem. If you'll read that first paragraph or two, it tells you that we do have an operating issue. And we're very fortunate that we've raised taxes on those residents here to meet the obligations you've already met. But wouldn't it have been better if you'd lived within your means and kept those taxes lower? Because, you know, yes, things do go up, but probably in direct proportion to how much you keep on spending. And that pension obligation thing, that was kind of like hidden in a little footnote.
Madam Clerk. Councilman Padilla and Dotson, they've always abstained on any minutes they weren't here for, haven't they?
Yes, they have.
And it's been a lot of meetings they've done that, isn't it?
Every one.
Huh,
Yeah.
okay. Please, your time is up, Mr. Brown. Please don't talk because you'll have to leave. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. Gil Matthew, District 4. On payment of the bills, in reviewing payment of the bills, we have some payments we're making from 10 years ago. Now, somewhere along the line, when you have outstanding bills, it's keyed to the state. So, in other words, you can't reconcile your budget if you have outstanding payments and you don't know where they are, and then all of a sudden you pay them. So I would hopefully that somewhere in the finance department it would review the what they call stale checks to be removed. And also concerning the finances and payment of bills. Here again, most of you know particularly the senior members, the new ones, you're still learning because you haven't been here. But the senior members, and I'm referring to seniors as 3 and 4, we're gonna need some leadership from both of you because the leadership is lacking at this time. Statements are being made which should not be made and representing the council. And it reflects on you because you've been here. Now, as far as resolution appropriations, now the finance director would understand what I'm saying. There's a limit that must be made for 13-14. And it must be posted in the city clerk's office 15 days prior to October 1st. And I haven't heard one thing about it, not one thing. And it's important because it limits how much you can appropriate from the budget. Now, I haven't heard one thing about a draft budget. All cities have their draft budget for review and comments by the residents. We haven't heard anything about a draft budget. In fact, the ironic thing was you can't even buy a budget in the city of Inglewood, which has never happened. And I'm bringing this to your attention. And now on DR1, I'd like to know a report exactly what it's going to do to have cost reduction. I mean, what do they do for the payment?
Yes.
And again, my time is out.
Thank you, Mr. Matthew.
Thank you.
You mentioned the draft budget being available on the city clerk's office. We do have a copy of that, just in case.
For this coming year's budget.
We haven't received.
Good afternoon. Leroy Fisher, the First District. To begin with, Mayor Butts, I'd like to say to you that, we come here just to...
Excuse me, Mr. Fisher, which item are
express-
you going to talk on? You can talk about me all you want in open time.
I'm not talking, it's just kind of curious to me,
Mr.
how you're
Fisher?
always threatening people
Mr.
about
Fisher,
whether or not
Mr.
you're going to throw
Fisher,
them out of here. Yes.
Mr. Fisher, you're going to address the agenda right now, and we'll be glad to hear your other
Okay,
comments
I'm going to
at the
address
end.
the agenda. I've just told you what I thought about that, though. With regard to HPH1, this housing department, where are we at?
Excuse me, that's a public hearing.
Okay, well, then I just wanted to know why we have all these signs out here and no money for housing for these residents of the city.
Appreciate it, Mr. Fisher. If there's nothing further public comment, we'll close public comment. Item 1, CSA 1 and H1.
Warrant register.
Move allow payment of the bills.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Dodson, Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Butts.
Aye. Madam Clerk, what's the next scheduled matter?
The next scheduled matter is a public hearing to receive input on the report on water quality relative to public health goals.
Has the notice of the hearing been given in the time, form, and manner as required by law, and do you have the affidavit on file?
Notice has been given and affidavit is on file.
Have any communications been received on the matter?
No communications have been received.
Mr. City Manager, is there staff report?
Yes, sir, Mayor.
Give your name.
Senior Admin Analyst for Public Works.
Welcome, Lauren.
This is a public hearing for a water quality report relative to public health goals. It's required for public water systems serving more than 10,000 service connections to prepare a brief report that presents information on the detection of contaminants above the public health goals published by the State Office of Environmental Hazard Assessment. The report must list the detection of any contaminant above the maximum contaminant level goals set by the US EPA. So this is a public hearing, address the report. These goals are not, we didn't exceed any of the actual, public health. Sorry. We didn't exceed any of the contaminant levels required by the Department of Public Health. These levels, some of them are set at 0, but there's no risk to public health.
Thank you. Is there any public comment?
Absolutely. You know, public hearings are all about our being able to address all the issues before the city council, whether they are under PH at the top or under HFH at the back, or whether they're in the middle of the consent calendar or the reports, any of those. And since this council, this administration, has chosen to play alphabet soup with the non-standard traditional how we address items, I'm
Mr.
going to
Brano.
address the water report right
Brano,
now.
Mr. Brano,
That is what
Mr.
it
Brano,
is.
Excuse me for one
Public
moment.
hearing.
Excuse me for one moment.
I think you
Excuse
can
me.
do
No,
that
we'll
on your
stop-
time.
I'm running the meeting. I'll stop your time. Mr. Brown, let me say something. I know that you're a very angry person, and I'll tell you what, we welcome you into the public process. We do. But I have to tell you, you seem to have some, excuse me, I'm talking right now, an issue, and I just wish that you would be more polite, because we try to be polite to you. So right now, we'll start your time on PH1 and just address the issue. Thank you.
I will more than happily address that issue, because politeness, when one is talking about contaminants and water, includes that idea of what public comment includes. And you know what? Polite does not automatically threaten someone to leave if you don't like my verbiage. I have not cursed. You have insulted. And unfortunately, shall we go back to that whole thing about silence implies agreement and consent? 4 people over here are participating in the allowance of someone diverting attention about the items on this agenda. So, with regard to the water quality, had you bothered to listen, I think that it would be imperative that you suggest that the public actually have the opportunity to address it without being threatened. And yet you chose to do that. And you chose to change my time. No, I'm not angry. I am frustrated that you disregard the public on a consistent and regular basis, even when it comes to something as significant as a public hearing with regard to water, housing, which we all pay the bills for. We're the ones who do, in fact, pay the bills and keep the money. Our investment is here. We cannot say the same for you.
I don't understand what the hell this is about. Any other public comment?
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Héctor Beltrán, soy médico de profesión y lamento mucho todo lo que acontece en esta ciudad. Como ciudadano y a ustedes que nos representan, lamento profundamente cómo nos tratan. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. We'll close public comment. I'll move 1 and 2.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Mayor, I want to comment, please.
Oh, comment from Councilman Franklin.
First of all, I want to thank you for your brief presentation, but more importantly was the content. And the content said that there was no level of contaminants concerning our water levels that is regulated by the state guidelines, correct?
I just said that we didn't exceed those guidelines regulated.
That's what, no level has exceeded
Has
the levels
exceeded, yeah.
of the
Some of them
contaminants.
did exceed the MCLGs, but these are just goals, aren't actual enforceable guidelines.
Okay.
These are just goals, but they're not enforceable.
Well, the main thing that the residents have the level of assurance that the water they dispense from their fountains is pure and proper for drinking. They
Yes.
need that level of assurance, and I want to make sure that was put on the record. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you very much, Madam Clerk.
Council members Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. Consent calendar, we're going to pull item 2 for a separate vote.
Okay.
And items 3 through 8.
I
move approval.
And I second that.
Madam City Clerk?
Council members Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. Item 2.
Approval of the minutes held April 23rd, 2013.
Move approval? Second.
Madam City Clerk?
Council members Dodson,
Abstain.
Padilla,
Abstain.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. DR1.
Staff report recommending approval of agreement with Berkshire Group for contract cost reduction services.
Staff report.
Thank you.
Welcome, Mr. Johnson.
Good afternoon, Mayor, council members, and residents of Inglewood and staff. My name's Ed Johnson. I'm the Purchasing and Contract Services Manager. What you have before you is a staff report requesting that we approve an agreement with the Berkshire Group to make recommendations on our contracts as far as cost reductions. We went out to bid back in July, or we did an RFP, I'm sorry, in July. And we had 3 responses. 2 responders requested money up front. They wanted approximately $100,000, whether or not we realized savings or not. This contractor was saying that if he came in, he would take 20% of whatever realized savings that the city received.
So comment, Mayor?
Yes.
So
Councilman
that was
Franklin?
the purpose I wanted the presentation, to identify that this is a finder's fee. If you find us some money that we can save, we'll give you 20% of it.
That is correct.
And that's what I wanted to make sure it was noted for the record. Thank you, Mayor. I so move.
Second.
Madam City Clerk?
Council members Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. DR2.
Staff report outlining the fiscal year 2012-13 third quarter budget review report.
Receive and file. We're going to go to open the City of Inglewood as a successor agency. Madam Clerk,
Okay.
would you call the roll?
Can I have a presentation 'cause
For,
for the third quarter budget review? I know it said receive and file, but I thought we was going to at least get a presentation.
you're right. Hold on. So we'll close the City of Inglewood successor agency. Sorry, Mr. Esparza, go ahead. My bad.
No harm, no foul.
Mr. Burt, please don't do that again. Please, don't do that again.
Good afternoon, David Esparza, Assistant City Manager, Chief Financial Officer. In keeping with past practices, this is the third quarter report. I've delivered this, a similar report at the end of the first quarter, the mid-year or second quarter, and this is the third quarter, basically that takes us through our budget discussion through the end of June 30th of this year. Which would be the 3 quarters that we have. Again, we start off with a snapshot of the key economic indicators, and I'm glad to say that property taxes are still showing a slight but steady increase. Sales taxes are also showing a very healthy return to the city. They're up 6% over the last 6 quarters, and we're using the 6 quarters as kind of a measuring stick in order to kind of show the progress versus just year over year. Building permits, they're up. There's a modest increase in those. Utility user taxes, there's an increase in water that really has started to surpass the decrease in telecommunications. Hotel tax, or the transit occupancy tax, is showing higher for higher room usage. Hollywood Park is stable, as we would expect it to be, in that their fees and changes have been locked into 2009 levels. Also, they are reimbursing the city for lost income on the sales tax and other taxes that the city collected. Unemployment within the region is starting to kind of steady, become a little bit more stable. We were showing decreases in it before, but over this last quarter, it's become more stable, and so it's kind of hit a bit of a plateau. And I'm happy to say that city expenditures are still under budget through the 3rd quarter of this year. This is where we started. I have put this slide in each year or each quarter so that we fully understand that we had the shortfall there of $4.3 million was covered with a workforce reduction plan or furloughs, freezing vacant positions, revenue from fee increases, which have not materialized as we had believed, but we've more than made up for that in administrative efficiencies. So I reported at the very beginning of the 1st quarter that there were 20 positions vacant. At the mid-year, 22 positions vacant, and currently there's 33 positions vacant, showing that we have a total general fund positions filled of 415. Now, what I draw your attention to is the 9-month savings has been steadily increasing. You can see it right here, estimated at $1.6 million. This started off as a projected savings as 1.3, and so the additional positions that have been held vacant have actually increased our savings and to 1.6. I have struck out this line because one of the things that I cautioned us about in the past was that the step increases per the MOUs were continuing to occur, and that through about mid-year we would still have an expectation that there would be some salary increases through the end. Now that we've covered 9 months of the fiscal year, there will be some, but not a lot, in going for the last quarter. So, and again, this is how we measure our progress and our prudence. As you can see that this discussion has occurred each time, and back in October, November, we allowed departments and our revenue projections to be within 10% of actuals. December and February, that dropped to 7%. March through May, 5%. June through July, 2%. And now that we're into August and September, we expect our revenues and expenditures to be within 1%. All right. However, I can report very happily that our revenues have exceeded our projections, and our expenditures, which I'll get to in a minute, have been below. So as you can see here, our utility users' taxes, we've collected 1% more, because this is all based on a equal proportioned revenue collection of 75% at 3 quarters of the fiscal year. So we have collected under the utility users tax 76%. Now here, property taxes, you can see that we've collected through June 30th, the end of the third quarter, 90% of our taxes. And so it looks as if we're really doing well, but we know, again, because of the cyclical nature of this, this will even out over the remainder of the year. Sales taxes are up 5%, which is a good sign for us. State collected taxes, again, these are cyclical, so we're going to get we're right now at 102%, so we should probably finish the year maybe a little bit above our projections for 2012-13. Other local taxes, we're seeing 82%, which would be 7% above what we would expect at this point. Other revenues here, we're actually down 5% because we've only collected 70% of what we would project. Yeah, and then the reserve for encumbrances is a matter for the budget, but it's not a revenue collection item. So, in a nutshell, our utility user taxes are up 3% over the same period last year. The sales tax are up 9% over the same period last year. Property taxes, again, these are 12% above, but again, this will be evened out before the end of the year. And then our other local taxes are up $708,000 or 6%. So again, the revenue signs that we're seeing in the economy, which we've been consistently reporting, have been very positive for the city. It's they're not huge, but they're steady and they're positive. And so that's a good sign for us. This is my favorite chart as a finance person. It shows both the collection of revenues and the trend that we would then use to project where we'd fall by the end of the year. I want to caution right here at this particular point, there was $2 million transferred to the city, which we're going to have to give a portion of that back because the county basically came with a decision that the transfer from the old redevelopment agency and successor agency now needs to go to the county. So that's what they're going to do. They didn't actually ask us to give the money back, but they will withhold an amount equal to that overpayment for the last 3 quarters. Expenditures, okay, and again, we've got some very good news here. Police and fire, which tends to lead the city, is at 67%. So we're actually down by 8% from 75 that we would be projecting at this particular time. General government is down a lot at 43%. Parks, recreation, and library services is down at 63%. And community development, 59%. Public works, 57%. And financing costs are at 24%. This one will, again, that'll even out before the end of the year because we know that we have some bills coming up to be paid. But again, we're measuring this performance against the equal proportionate expenditures on the budget of 75%. That's where we should be at the end of the third quarter. So again, prudence and fiscal responsibility has served the city well in trying to then close the structural shortfall of the budget during this fiscal year. We'll see how this all works out at the close of the year, and we'll report on that after year-end close. So this is our trend chart that basically shows that our expenditures were fairly constant because there's not a lot of movement on this line. And so we continue to maintain a very strict and controlled management of our budget and expenditures, and we're very consistent. Now, granted, the majority of this is made up from the salary savings, but again, that all reflects the prudence and the management of all department heads and staff in maintaining their cost. Just some quick notes. Police and fire services are up by 1.9 million or 5.6% over the same period last year. But police is down by 83,000, fires up by 2 million. We know that, this is a result of a contract that, for new services, and because their fiscal year starts July 1 and ours starts in October, so there's going to be a little bit of an offset in the start of their, the way that they would bill the city versus the way we would then, look at our payments, and timing of those payments over the course of the year. So again, more of a timing issue versus, one that their real costs have gone up by $1.9 million. So again, economic and community development is down by $76,000 or 3%. General government down by 54%, and this is, again, I said that we know that was gonna flatten out because we're gonna have some bills to pay before we close the year. Public Works is down by 9% at this time. That's 537,000, and overall, the general fund expenditures are down by 13%. So, there's going to be, the Parks and Recreation Department has yet to bring in their summer program costs, so we know that that's going to change, and so there is some adjustment still to be done before we close out the books for fiscal year 2012-13. Special funds, again, this is reflective of our, the revenues that we collect and then the expenditures that we have. All fund balances on this, that is not shown on these tables. We've gone over to make sure that the expenditures do not exceed fund balances plus expected revenues. Now, two things that I wanted to bring back into this discussion, and this is just for, to make sure that we don't lose sight of it, and you've seen this chart in the mid-year report, and this is the pay-as-you-go retiree health care costs. And you can see that, one of the major issues that the city is going to have to face, in the near future and even in next year is the significant increases in the health care costs for retirees. Now, as it says right there, it's a pay-as-you-go, so this isn't money that we put aside in years past. It's money that we have to take out of the budget every year to pay for the increasing costs for retirees. All right? This one is a comparison because I put this in there because, again, this is a conversation that we will have at greater length during the budget discussions, but at least I want to make sure that people hear it and see it now, is that we've just got notification that, from our healthcare insurance brokers, that our cost for healthcare for active employees is going to go up by almost $2 million in 13-14. So again, when we start to talk about the stresses and the issues that we will be facing as we enter into our budget discussions next week, this will be the 800-pound gorilla that's sitting in the room. But again, I just want to make sure that we get this out there so people can start thinking and talking about it. Any questions?
Council questions? Well, I want to say a couple of things. First of all, I want to acknowledge the work that you've done since being our finance director and chief financial officer. We have more steady, reliable information. I want to compliment Mr. Fields, yourself, and Mr. Falco for the management of the city so that we manage our resources in an efficient, prudent manner. And I want to single out Chief Fronterata because public safety is the largest part of the budget. And if he didn't exercise the fiscal prudence that he does, there's no way that our revenues would be on track as they are. And it hasn't always been that way in the past. We just have a really good management team in the city now. And I just want to acknowledge that, and I want to thank all of you. Receive and file.
Thank you.
Can I
Thank you.
comment, Mayor?
Oh, yes, you can, Mr. Franklin.
Sure, thank you. First of all, thank you for the pulse check of the financial health of the city. There has been a number of residents that raised concerns here at the podium regarding what is the status, because the comment that kept coming up on a regular basis that we're on a slippery slope. And after reviewing your presentation, we find that that is not the case, that we are in fact, overall, we are on track for the fiscal year to be within the budgetary appropriations, which is good. What is also good to hear, and the public has been aware of it, and that is the issues involving law enforcement, particular officer-involved enforcement.
Bless you.
There has been substantially less lawsuits filed against the city involving our officers, which has made a significant contribution for our expenditures that we've budgeted for. In addition, as you've heard earlier in the report, on how the chief has done its prudence due diligence of being able to capture $83,000 in expenditure in reductions, which is outstanding. I think what's critical is that we're not out of the woods yet, and that needs to be stressed to the employees and the community as well, that although we're up is good with the revenue stream, we also have to be mindful that there's unencumbered, there's obligated expenditures that we have, such as you've indicated regarding the retirement benefits, et cetera, that the funding is not there. So we're going to need to still come up with other avenues of having the employees working with these management in order to make this a win-win. And if otherwise, it's going to face the undire consequences, which will probably occur in the next few weeks when we start talking about the budgeting, and that has to do with potential reductions or reducing in services. And so I think it's critical that we put it on the record now. We're healthy right now as far as meeting the fiduciary responsibility and meeting the budget that we approve, but we also be mindful that we're not out of the woods yet, and that there's still going to be sacrifices required by all in order for us to continue to maintain this. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilman Morales.
Thanks, and I was gonna add some of the stuff that Councilman said, I won't repeat it, but obviously I wanna thank Mr. Esparza and Mr. Fields, Mr. Falco, and even Mr. Saunders, who made it a point to say a few weeks ago, I guess, that he brought down the settlement budget because of some of the impacts, positive that have been made. You know, what I wanted to point out in your report, Mr. Esparza, which was, but it is that this is our reality now, and it's not something that, you know, took three months, the last 3 months for you guys to come about. Mr. Falco, Mr. Fields, even before then had, for about a year or two, had pointed out some of the things that we are facing. So I just wanted to point out that when we talk about our long-term plan and the stuff that these gentlemen are working on constantly, we may see it here every couple of months, but it takes a good amount of time to come up with a plan to just knock it over little by little. So I just wanted to point that out. I mean, you know, Ralph did a good job of kind of pointing out specifics, but thank you guys very much. That was it, Mayor.
Thank you.
And Mr. Esparza, thank you for again reiterating we have that unfunded liability as far as our medical, and that we will have to deal with medical if we're going to make it into the future. But
Yeah, you couldn't imagine the surprise on my face when, you know, Mr. Falco, you know, announced to me that, oh, by the way, Dave, so you think you solved your budget for 2013-14, you know, we just found another $2 million hole that we're going to have to fill. So it's, you know, it's a challenge. It's a challenge, and it puts, you know, pressure on everybody in the city.
But we've had cooperation from employees, and that's what it's going to take, us working together as we make it into the future as our revenues grow. Madam, well, it's receive and file. Okay, we're going to open the City of Inglewood Successor Agency. Madam Clerk.
A quorum is present.
CSA 2.
Approval of the minutes held February 12th, April 9th, April 16th, and April 23rd, 2013.
Move approval.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Agency members: Dotson,
Abstain.
Padilla,
Abstain.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Chairman Buds.
Aye. CSA 3.
Monthly Treasurers Report for the month ending May 31st, 2013.
Receive and file. adjourn the City of Inglewood successor agency, open the City of Inglewood as Housing Authority.
A quorum is present.
Madam Clerk, what's the next scheduled matter?
The next scheduled matter is a public hearing to receive input on the Inglewood Housing Authority 2013-14 Annual Plan and the 2014-19 5-year plan, and approve the plans for submission to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Has notice of the hearing been given in the time, form, and manners required by law, and do you have the affidavit on file?
Notice has been given and affidavit is on file.
Have any communications been received on the matter?
No communications have been received.
Is there a staff report, Mr. City Manager?
Yes, Mr. Angie Pacheco, Housing Manager, will give the staff report.
Welcome, Ms. Pacheco.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Councilman, staff. The background on the information on Section 511 of the United States Public Housing Reform Act of 1998, Quality Housing and Work Reform Act, requires public housing agencies to prepare an annual report reflecting changes from last year and outlining program implementation and strategies for the upcoming fiscal year. Prepare a 5-year plan that describes the agency's goals and objectives, operation and management policies and procedures, and strategy for addressing housing needs for the next 5 years. Hold an annual resident advisory board meeting to give program participants the opportunity to make comments and give feedback on the proposed plans. And conduct a public hearing to give program participants and the public further opportunity to discuss the plans and make comments. That is my report for today.
Thank you. Are any persons present who wish to address the council on the matter?
Again, good evening, members of this council meeting, honorable members of the city, citizens. I come before you to express my concern about issues that has to do with housing. We had met, haven't we, before, and we comment about not only about Frida Kahlo, but also about my concerns when we went to your office. My concerns remain. I'm still unemployed after being a fellow of the King Drew Medical Center for 20 years, and I live in Section 8, Regency Towers. What I'm afraid of is that in this housing community, which is good and bad at the same time, is that I live among disabled people who need help and elderly people. And so sometimes I really feel that I live in a hospital or a mental institution. And so therefore I would like you to please take in consideration what I'm saying to you, because I'm terribly troubled that I cannot, have children of my own in this sort of institution while I live here. I live here in this city since I was 9 years old. I run for city council against George Dotson and Mike Stevens, and as mayor of LA, I would like to congratulate you for the work you're doing, and thank you for receiving my concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Close public comment. Mr. Fisher, would you like to comment?
Yes, I have a question with regard to this housing thing. Are we still involved with HUD? Is there money for this housing, and why do we have all these signs out here telling people that they dare not even go upside to come up to the housing department? Are we, how are we with HUD? What kind of monies are we getting from HUD, or are we?
You want me to respond to those questions?
Well, we'll let him finish and then.
Yeah, well, that's one of the main questions with regard to this housing issue, because people are not seeming to be available to even get housing, and I just wondered why. Is it because we had to pay HUD back certain monies, or
No.
what is it? Why can we not provide housing for people? So can she answer?
We'll let you finish, Mr. Fisher. And
Okay,
then
well-
I'll ask the question.
Okay, then I will, I'd like to have an answer for that, and that would be my question, you know, why is there no money for housing for
Okay.
people?
Thank you.
Good afternoon. When I read through the document, I was surprised that it referenced that in 2004, and it talks about a lot of stuff with the, kind of having to get back the money that we gave to others because we didn't have the checks and balances as if it had all been taken care of. But you know what? That's not what the December 2012 document says that starts in Washington. So I think there's a conflict between the two documents, ours going there and theirs coming here. But that seems to be a real common thing. So I don't know if you guys are getting the reports or you just don't notice it. I know part of it could be reading too quickly because just a couple weeks ago, you approved a document that said that the average income for the residents of Inglewood was $17,000 a month. Yeah, you approved it. Page 38 and 39. But I'm sure you all do your due diligence, so I'm sure Washington's going to try to figure out how the census report doesn't show that. I hope you're careful when you do these because since I can't speak here, I'll be highlighting copies and sending them to Washington. They tend to listen, something that doesn't happen here. By the way, all those things that you want to say we're angry about, or that I personally am angry, don't remember seeing your psych degree. Wow. On the other hand, narcissism makes someone do that.
I think you'd know about narcissism. Ms. Pacheco, could I ask you a couple questions?
Yes.
One, could you just give us on an annual basis now, even with the 25% reduction, about how much we receive in housing funds from HUD? And then two, to put this to rest, did we have to give any funds back in this fiscal year or 2012 to HUD?
Okay. For this year, on page 5, we outlined the funding that we received was $12,648,000 for HAP vouchers, for the vouchers for the community. And then we received $1,164,000 for administrative costs. There was a minor cut, and that is the amount that we totally received. And with the cuts, we were asked, because of the sequester, to pull back all of our vouchers that we had out on the street from the waiting list. We put the people back on the waiting list, and they will get an opportunity after December to receive vouchers again. Right now, we're under limitations, and the whole country is because of the changes, but we continue to operate within our budget. We received additional funds of $340,000 this year to total out the $12,648,000. So we do not have a problem. We have not returned any money. We are in good standing. We are a high performer for the Housing Authority. Under the affordable housing, the money that was transferred over to us as well. And we have a reserve in both of our programs of $1.5 million for the Housing Authority and affordable housing. If there are cuts, we will not have to use the general funds to towards any of our issues in the Housing Authority.
Okay. And Ms. Pacheco, in your background, what other cities did you work for before you came here?
I worked for the county in Rio Arriba County.
Exactly. And how many years you have in the business?
Housing, 8, and in management, 30.
Okay. And I really want to compliment you because you have done an excellent job for our city. And from time to time, you prepare a volume of reports for HUD and other reporting agencies, isn't that right?
Correct.
And it wouldn't be unusual from time to time that instead of a year, you'd put a month. There could be mistakes that sometimes we don't catch, right?
Correct.
Okay, but that's not the end of the world. And usually, people that want to help, then they send you an email and say, I saw this mistake, right?
Correct.
All right, thank you. Appreciate the work that you're doing.
Thank you, I appreciate
All right. And if that correction needs to be made, please make it.
I'm not aware of that.
I'm not
but if
aware of it
she-
either, but, you
If
know.
she would like to address that, I can follow up on it.
Oh, please, would you?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mhm.
Gil Matthew, District 4. Mayor and City Council. On the housing, my question is this. According to the successor agency, we are required to replace housing. The question is, how are we going to replace the number of units that we took out during the time that we were involved with redevelopment? Nobody's ever answered that question or approach it. And my second comment is that we need emphasis on first-time home buyers and neighborhood preservation. And also we need help with the residential sound installation program and have funding that's available for elders and those that qualify to take care of the minor repairs that's needed for them to comply with the sound installation. And also, there's other comments about the Section 8 housing. Now, recently, they've increased the amount that the tenants have to pay concerning their housing. And what they've done is they've taken a value, the rental value, and increased it. And then the portion that the tenant has to pay increased also, not even based on their income. So the question is, the former amount and the new amount basically is runs maybe $200, and the cost to the tenant is depend on how much the increase was. So my point is this: if a tenant is not getting further income, then why should he have to pay more in terms of his proceeds? It's just something maybe that can be addressed, okay. And also, first-time home buyers program. You had one with a raffle, so that's important. And the other one is on foreclosures and abandoned homes. That's important. But what you have to do is do an outreach to other realtors in the city. You had 2, and they were selected. I don't know the process of that, other criteria, but you had 2. That should be on what you call the MLS list. Everybody should have access to that. But anyway, housing is critical in the city for the youth, young families, and the elderly.
Thank you, Mr. Matthew.
Good afternoon, Ethel Austin. I want to say one thing. I want to say to all of the council members and everyone in here, whatever you do in the dark, come out in the light. I think what we should do is move forward.
Hold on, yeah, you're right. Well, hold on one second.
Okay.
But right now, we're going to
Okay.
talk about the public hearing.
Yeah.
And, all right, there we go.
This is about,
Okay, one.
and I want to say one thing. It was a blessing to get Ms. Pacheco. And I'm here to tell you, it was a blessing. This woman has done so much for this housing authority. I know I don't understand all of this budgeting and all this junk, but I'm saying one thing. This woman is powerful. That was the best move council made, was to get this woman right here besides David Esparza. I'm serious. She is good. And I'm going to say this. All of this, we need to move forward. Council, we need you all to come down to the people. You know you're going to have all of this bickering about the budget. We already know all of this. We know what's going on. Everyone know what's going on. Now, for us, the first-time buying program, I'm going to step on that a minute. I've been applying maybe about 5 years for one little old house. But I already know what's going on. The budget, I mean, the house, I mean, everybody's in a crush in a thing. But, like I say, everybody will. You did something like Jesse Jackson, you're going to get caught. That's all to it. So we need to move forward, and I'm going to ask council, start coming down to the people, talking to the people. You know, please, you know, stop all of this back and forth. Who cares what someone say in the audience? You're getting paid to come down to this people like she does, like David does. I mean, a lot of you all do it. Ralph, all of you all do it. Open up and let the people call you all, please. If I stopped bickering, everybody was upset about the election. Oh well, we moving along. You did anything wrong, you did it wrong. But right now, it's about the money. That's all it's about. That's all I'm trying to say. It's time for us to move forward. And council, please start coming down to the people. That's it.
We'll close public comment. Any council comment?
Mayor, please.
Councilman Franklin?
As you have admirably put it, Mayor, and those in the audience also eloquently expressed, Ms. Pacheco was a breath of fresh air for our housing department. With your knowledge and skills, particularly management skills, it was critical that we had timely reports. And more importantly, we had the issue involving portability issues. When I said presentation, you were addressing those as well. I think what it was also critical that the fights we were having, and we had to use HUD as a referee. And now that we have you on board and we have a standard in place and HUD is helping us enforce it, it's now helping us meet the needs of those that qualify. Clearly, there's going to be an issue involving the voucher system where individuals have messed up and where their voucher was removed from them because of what they did. And then now they're trying to get back on while the list is so long, get in line. And so this report here clearly identifies that here's our presentation, we're prepared to present to HUD, here's our guidelines, and this council is prepared to adopt it today, and I so move that, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Dotson?
I just want to make the comment, you're very, very good, and you do an excellent job, but your staff is also very good. I know that I want to give kudos to the housing staff because since I've been here as a new boy on the block, I've been able to contact some of the members of your staff, and they've been able to explain a lot of things to me that I did not know. So I want to thank you for your work and your staff's work. Thank you very much for being part of the team.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to thank you again. I've read several of your staff reports, Ms. Pacheco, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate your comprehensiveness in these reports, your attention to detail, and the way you make them so easy to understand. So you're able to connect the dots when we read these reports. So again, thank you. And also for Mr. Esparza on his presentation that he did. We have a very good staff personnel on with our city, and thank you all for that. Appreciate it.
Okay. And I just want to close, Ms. Pacheco. Again, I want to affirm, I keep hearing this assertion that we've lost some HUD funds. Have we lost any HUD funds?
We have not lost any HUD funds.
Could you say that one more time?
We have not lost any HUD funds from the Section 8 program.
Thank you very much.
Move item 2, Mayor.
Second.
Madam City Clerk?
Agency members, Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Chairman Butts.
Aye. I'm going to,
H2,
Hmm?
H2.
Oh, yeah, H2. There we go.
Monthly Treasurer's Report for the month ending May 31st, 2013.
Receive and file. Adjourn Inglewood Housing Authority, open the Inglewood Public Financing Authority. Madam
A
Clerk?
quorum is present.
F1.
Monthly Treasurer's Report for the month ending May 31st, 2013.
Receive and file. Adjourn the Public Financing Authority.
City President, a quorum is present.
CM1.
No city manager reports.
A1.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. CS1 was pulled. There was a closed session held as to CS2 closed session, confidential attorney-client privilege, potential litigation under Government Code Section 54956.9B1, claim of Delivery Concepts, Inc. Request a motion to approve purchase.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Council members: Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. A2?
CS3 was pulled.
Oh,
And that concludes reports out of closed
Me,
session for
CS3.
this afternoon. And there are no verbal reports, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
the only thing I'd like, Mr. City Attorney, in keeping with Mr. Esparza's presentation, if you would just once again go over the reduction in the amount that we've had to set aside for police liability cases so far this year.
Well, last year, in last year's budget, we set aside in the claims line $2.4 million. At the beginning of the next fiscal year, which was the year which is coming to a close, we reduced that amount to $1.8 million. And of that $1.8 million, so far we had only spent $200,000. So there was a overall savings so far of over $1.5 million in the claims line.
Okay, we want to say again a kudos to Chief Ranarata and the men and women of the Inglewood Police Department who are conducting themselves in a very professional manner. CC1, Madam City Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. Just real quickly, I wanted to thank a couple of the block clubs that I attended on this past Saturday, and that would be Monique Cathy, Early Lincoln, Tyrone Clay, Pearl Rocket, Henry and Helen Harris, along with our council member Alex Padilla and Catherine Pullman. All of them had block club parties, and they were awesome. We had a great time. Thank you for your hospitality, Councilman. I appreciate it. And then later that evening, we attended the Mr. Frank Scoggins. He was 80 years old, and he had a birthday celebration. So I just thought I'd share that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. CT1,
It's a monthly
Treasurer's Report.
Treasurer's Report for the month ending May 31st, 2013.
Receive and file. CT2, Madam City Treasurer.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Yes, unfortunately, I was out of town again this weekend, was not able to attend any of the block club functions, but I certainly do look forward to being able to attend, hopefully some this weekend, although our family reunion is going to be this particular weekend. My cousin A.G. there is going to be at Darby Park, so we're looking forward to all of our relatives and friends being there. It's going to be from 11 a.m. until 6 p.m. For the monthly treasurer's report, and I do have some on the counter there for others to pick up and follow along with me. The funds under management for the city of Inglewood is $108,881,579. And the interest earning for debt service is $25, and the interest earnings is $50,863. For the successor agency, funds under management is $98,737,223. Again, this report is as of May 31st, 2013. And the debt service is $11,256, and the interest earnings is $16 other than that. Housing Authority, funds under management, $100,377. And Public Finance Authority, $13,498,337. And the interest earnings for debt service is $1,664. And the total funds under management is $221,217,516. And there's an array of pie charts also to describe the financial actions that I've just stated. Also, would like to point out, the Treasury report shows that the bond securities as of May 31st is $35,755,350,000. The total bonds that have been invested thus far, as of today, is $39,522,763. That's as of August the 20th. And I would like to point out also that I don't expect a number of these bonds to be called, because as you may know, as interest rates go up, bond prices fall down. So bond prices are rather low, and as I mentioned at the last Treasurers meeting, some $44 billion investors have pulled out of municipal tax exempt bond funds. But again, my lowest bond coupon in the portfolio is 0.84. and the LAIF rate currently is 0.26. So even at that, it's still 60 basis points at least above the LAIF rate. And it'll take LAIF probably at least, this is the state pool, it'll take LAIF at least 2 years to get up to 0.84 at the rate that interest rates is currently going now. Because we're expecting that, we don't quite know what the Federal Reserve is going to do, but are they going to keep buying bonds or not to shore up the economy? But basically, rates are tricking up, and the housing rate tends to follow the 10-year Treasury, and the 10-year Treasury is going up. So housing rates have gone up now a little over 4%. I'm so glad when I did my refinance about 6-7 months ago, got it as low as 3.75. So, but that has all changed. But again, the total bonds under management now, the current is $39,522,763. So I expect at least currently the bonds that have not been called, that could have been called, is approximately about 5 million. And I expect another approximately 9 million that will not be called. So these bonds will probably be held until maturity. But again, the rate is still significantly above the LAIF rate. And last week, I did point out the wonderful job that Chief Fonterrata is doing with the police department, with all of the lower costs in the general fund, the grants program, Prop A. Traffic offenders a little bit up, but the total is down $591,000. Patrol services is down $281,500. Special enforcement is down $186,000. Now, criminal is up some. As you know, there's been an array of burglaries throughout not only our city but throughout the nation due to just the economic conditions that's going on now. Would like to point out, though, regarding some of the total department costs that has been spent, like for parking, is approximately $1.0 million. Traffic enforcement, $1.5 million. Patrol services, $10.6 million. Anti-crime, $1.4 million. Special enforcement, $665,200. Narcotics, $971,000. Scientific services, $173,000. Criminal investigation, $3.9 million. Custody, $462,500. Communications, $917,000. Records, $513,600. Property evidence, $49,700. Contract services, $84,009. Administration, $1.2 million. Community affairs, $463,600. And Chief of Police, $1 million. So the total has been roughly about $24.9 million. So again, I certainly want to commend the police department and Chief Fonterrata for just an excellent job that they're doing in protecting and serving our city.
And although the chief is doing a great job, we didn't pay him $1 million. It's
no.
the people in his office, right?
Yes.
All right.
Let me clarify that.
Just clarify that. He's good.
The chief did not get paid $1 million.
All right.
That's for the.
All right. Thank you.
That's for the department. That concludes my remarks.
Thank you. Councilman George Dotson nominates, and I appoint Maxine Toller to the Human Affairs Commission.
I concur.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Dotson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Butts.
Aye. Councilman George Dotson nominates, and I appoint Lee A. Denman to the Citizens Police Oversight Commission.
And I concur.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Dotson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Butts.
Aye. Any persons wishing to address City Council on any matter connected with city business not elsewhere considered on the agenda may do so at this time.
Yes, members of the City Council. As a citizen and living or residing in District 1, I would like to congratulate Mr. Padilla for his tacos as well, and Mr. Dotson, who is not a new boy in town since we have met before, not only during his campaign in a very honest and respectful manner while he was visiting City Regency Tower, but also while he was a member of the Planning Commission, right? And and also mention to you that with all due respect, Second to Mr. Matthew, I do respect the opinion of Ms. Zambrano. She's been consistently coming before you. She knows more about the city council and the city than me and many of us, because she is and has been listening. And I wish to mention to you that last city council, while I was here, I was removed, but not escorted, but pushed around and shoved. And I resent what took place at that occasion. I don't know what happened, but if I do violate these quorum, the rules of the quorum, please let me know. I'm going to read something that has been written in Psalms 55, and it starts in Latin with Exaudi Deus. Please, dear God, listen to me. Please interrupt me if I am in any way violating the rules of the quorum, and give me a warning. Do give ear, O God, to my prayer. Do pay attention to me and answer me. I am driven resentfully about my concerns, and I cannot but show disquietude due to the voice of the enemy because of the pressure of the wicked ones. And Mr. Sanders, please, I apologize for the last time I wasn't able to respond to your call. It's not that I disregarded or neglected, it's just that I cannot comment on city matters out of this quorum. So I congratulate you for your work here, and God bless you.
Thank you.
Mayor Butts, council, other members of the crew. I do not socialize mostly with people that's younger than me. And you got to be quite old to get up there. Because in here there's 5 seniors, starting with AJ and the other 3 in the back and me. I'm sorry
I'm a senior as well.
that I blurted out. You didn't listen to the first part of it. What I said, that's my bad.
Okay.
I deal with the guys in the street sometimes, but they not my ego. So I appreciate, and I would not come back at you if you had said something about me, not in the chamber. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
You all, Mayor Butts, I'm going to follow up on what I was saying before. I don't know where you get this attitude of disrespecting people as you do, and I don't know where you get this thing that public business has to move so quickly and everything has to be done and you're out of here. This city is not moving the way it should. I look around at all the cities around us and all the positive things that are going on, and all that we get from this city is a bunch of talk. We don't get any movement. You talk about Hollywood Park, you talk about Madison Square Gardens. Well, those things were going on all the time, even before you got here, and before any of you did anything about those things. Madison Square Gardens, they knew that building was available, and they didn't need any of you to do anything, But we in this city have nothing going on positive. But you look at every one of these cities, whether it's El Segundo, whether it's Hawthorne, whether it's Torrance, all these cities around us have positive things going on, business improvements, housing improvements, and all we get, is a bunch of talk, talk about block parties or some other nonsense, But, we don't get anything that is really, really, really positive. And, you talk to Mr. Morales or whatever, but, I say to you all that you need to get something going on in this city more than talk. And you need to stop threatening people, because, maybe you don't have any lawsuits with the police, but you're gonna have some lawsuits with you yourself here, and I'm done with you. Bye.
My name's still Diane Sombrano. Let me tell you why I started coming to these meetings. Originally, it's because, golly gee whiz, wow, I discovered that the school district and the city had an issue about sharing a key, and the children who went to the city park could not use the school bathrooms. They couldn't share a $2 key. And when I came and suggest maybe we should share, graciously, kindly, and thoughtfully, instead, I was attacked and told that an old white woman ought to sit down and shut up. I don't have children. Guess what? Way too many children I didn't know were using my bathroom, the one in my house, because I opened it for children I didn't know because the city and the school didn't want to. And it took a truckload of years and convincing for Danny Tabor, Judy Dunlap, and who was the other? To say, yes, let's build a bathroom. A cinder block bathroom on property we already owned that cost $140,000 when there was already water going right there because there used to be a swimming pool there. But more importantly, Ed Vincent decided that he would insult not just me, but every other old person who came to this chamber. And you know what? Then I wasn't a senior, but correcting Mr. Burt, I think almost everybody except for this young lady here and that one there that I don't know, everyone else here is a senior. Okay, she just clarified she's not as young as I gave her credit. She's a senior also. Okay? So you insult seniors on a consistent and regular basis. The ones who come here and say, the oil's leaking, the red light on your car is on, but you want to sit here and say, but guess what? I cleaned it and the chrome's pretty. All you want is pretty, 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 instead of keeping the operation running. You glossed over the couple million that the county might want back, that shortfall. You glossed over that because you only want to hear positives. And somewhere down the road, that train wreck is going to happen or that car is going to stop. And if it's only yours, that's fine. I don't care. But when you take the residents of this community with, then we're going to let you know we don't appreciate it. So keep on insulting. Ed tried. Dorn tried. I'm used to insults. You want to trade? We can do it for a couple hours. But you know what? The rest of you, think of the Nuremberg trials. They didn't get to say, he told me so. They were found guilty of disrespecting for their silence.
Nuremberg.
Oh, well, my name is Ethel Austin again.
Hi, Miss Austin.
I want to mention something that Mr. Fisher, I'm going to piggyback on something he said that a little bit not true. I must tell the truth. The forum, before you all, the council, went and spoke to went to New York or whatever, as I remember, Ralph, I think they was trying to make a fish pond out of it. Remember that? Alma and Danny, before Butts came and spoke to about MSG, brought MSG. So that's not, I'm not gonna stand up here. I'm tired of this negative stuff. We need to, like I said, move on and let the law deal with the law. Move on. Council, I'm gonna ask you one time. You don't have to bicker with us. You know what you're doing. We see what you're doing. If someone come up here, get negative, or whatever, oh well, you getting paid to run this city, not to come down to bicker. So like I said, that was supposed to be a fishing pond for men to bring their sons to go fishing when Danny was the mayor. Am I right, Morales? Come on now. Before Butts came, that's what it was supposed to turn into until he went. And the council, you all went up there to New York and got MSG. That's the truth. Now, another thing, LA, like Mr. Fisher said, we need to do something positive, right? LA last week went to council to get free Wi-Fi. right? Everyone know about it. So why can't we do it? That's reaching down to the people. That's something we really need. It don't have to be done by one person. It could be done by whoever. Y'all know what to do. I don't. But I think that would be something to boost up the morale in the city and bring positive. You want to sell homes and all of this, the Hollywood Park. Let's go positive, guys. We on God's time. No more borrowed time. Let's go positive. Now, if you see me going positive, then everybody should flip on in and join into the crowd.
I'd have to agree with that.
Amen. Amen, Jesus. And like I said, let the law deal with the law. Come on now. We all got, and stop bickering with them. Mayor, you bigger than that. Stop.
It's not bickering, go ahead.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. Don't even trip. If anybody got something negative in Mr. AJ, don't even trip no more. We on God's time. You a Christian. Let's stop it. Move on. Get us free Wi-Fi so I can buy a house. Find out why I can't get this house, man.
We'll figure it out.
Okay.
My name is Willie A.G., and I live in the beautiful city of Inglewood, and I am shocked. Thank you, Miss Austin. You made a beautiful speech tonight, and I congratulate you. Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for controlling this council, doing the city's work, and moving on, as well as the 4 council people. I want to thank this council. The last 4 people that you hired, department heads, just, what they call it, off the wall, the top of the line.
No, off the chain.
Off the chain.
Off the chain.
That
But off the wall is like
off
fight.
the wall, yeah, whatever. They're the greatest, believe me. Mr. Sanders, Mr. Fields, Mr. Falco, just can't say enough. How can a city fail with people like this? With people like Ms. Wanda Brown and Ms. Yvonne Horton? How can you fail? You can't fail. And a leader like Mayor Butts, no, I don't have to get up here and cry and complain. I've been doing it for 15 years. I can sit in that seat, don't even have to move. But I just wanted to say congratulations. Just keep doing what you're doing. Don't pay any attention to the naysayers. They're dropping off now, so pretty soon there won't be any of them left. You got Miss Austin now, so I hope she don't change on you. Hey.
Mayor and City Council, Gil Matthew, District 4. First, I'd like to congratulate my councilman, District 4, for manning up and make sure we had an oral report on the finance report. Because this one was not gonna allow it unless you spoke up. So I commend you for that. And I purposely didn't mention it where it was agendized not to have a report. It was receive and file, and he was looking for a second to receive and file. And you spoke up. Congratulations. Now that's what I call manning up. And he is not in control of this council. 5 into 100 is 20%. You own 20, he own 20, you own 20, he own 20. Okay? Read the charter, what your duties are. Read it. And what is happening now is somebody's manning up and the staff is manning up. And that's what it takes to run this city. And as far as what you define as a slippery slope, it's all in semantics. Now, he admitted we're trading water. Okay, we're going into the fourth quarter. Finance director is very polite to you guys, and that's his job. But I am a resident that pay the bills. So I have a different message. We have unfunded liabilities as CalPERS. Millions. As a successor agency, millions. $1.1 billion outstanding debt to 2048. And don't sit here telling me, kumbaya, we're going to sing and dance, and we're going to have barbecues, and he's good cooking weenies. Look, my friends, leave that out of the council chambers. That's not business. Let's talk money, USA. The color is green. We're going to be okay because of the residents. Because of residents, no matter who's sitting up here, Mickey Mouse or anybody else. You have the most educated residents in any city in the South Bay. They're solid, and you're going to hear from them. And it's going to be okay.
Thank you, Mr. Matthews. Close public comment, Mr. Franklin.
Let me just say
sorry,
something
I'm
real
sorry,
quickly.
I'm sorry,
I
Ms.
just
Horton.
wanted to say something because for many years prior to me getting here, the city, the community, different communities in the city of Inglewood have block club parties. I disagree with some of the comments that were said because I think it's important that we do fellowship with each block club. I think that it's very enriching. I think it's a slap on the face to say that if you go to these things, it's nonsense, because it's not, because when you don't go, the people get angry. They think all you do is knock on their door when you want to vote, but you can't come to their party, so that's like a slap in their face. And I think it's important and healthy. As a matter of fact, the mayor and my husband, Chairman Jerome Horton, as well as myself, were able to give reports to the community and talk about what's going on. A lot of times people can't go to or come to the council meetings, and it's not because it's daytime or nighttime, they just can't make it. And so the mayor gave many wonderful reports. Every block club that I went to, he was there, and it was real enriching. The people were glad to see us there, and I just think that we should do more of that. That's a part of making our city. It's not always about the money. Yes, the money is one thing, but it's also about connecting with people and letting them know that you care about them and you want to be, involved. You want them to see you. So I disagree with all that, and I just wanted to say that. And I left out one block club that I went to, W.G. Howard's. Thank you.
Oh, right. Shanera. All right, Councilman Franklin?
Yes, before we get into the positive things, Mayor, I'd like for you to close the meeting in honor of Michelle Benson. Michelle Benson is the wife of Virgil Benson, who just passed away a few days ago.
Oh.
So I'd like to make sure we close the meeting in that honor. Funeral arrangements has not been set yet because it's so recent. Second of all, I want to elate, contrary to a public comment about there's no positive things going on in the city, apparently they haven't gone to at least District 4's town hall meeting. They didn't go to the MSG public session that we had. And also, as the mayor aptly put it, and I've been going around, the 5 block club events I went to, we were talking positive. And we were getting feedback from the residents specifically about their blocks, surrounding blocks, and other information about what's going on here, what's going on there, and was able to engage, and that's what it's all about. Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge that there was another outstanding opportunity for a developer who said, I want to make a difference in people's lives, and that's Ability First, and that we had a special groundbreaking ceremony on Friday as well, which was outstanding. I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge those block party events that I went to, but before I went to that, I went to the True Friendship Missionary Baptist Church. They had their special event for a block picnic. And being a grandparent, I had a 3-year-old granddaughter, and she went with me, and trying to get her out of these jumpers as we were going from one event to the other was interesting, but it was a great experience of feeling young, but at the same time blending in with the community. So I want to thank the True Friendship Missionary Baptist Church. I want to thank the Shenera Block Club, ran by W.G. Howard. I want to thank the 2nd Avenue Block Club, which was by Mr. Tyrone Clay, the 118th Street Block Club, which was Pearl Rocket, the Century Heights, it'd be Ladera, Heights of Ladera, which would be Henry and Helen Harris, and our distinguished hot dog cooker, none other than our new councilman, Alex Padilla. And so all of these events all took place over the weekend, and there's more to come. And I think it's great. In fact, as I was talking to the city manager, he found it very interesting on how we as a community of unity are fellowshipping, and we're addressing issues, good and bad, and we're addressing those issues. We're not running from the problem, we're running to the problems, and more importantly, we've been embraced. And so this council's on board. They recognize the positive energy that's on this council and this city, and that despite of one individual's perception, I can clearly tell you, actions speak louder than words. We're on the move. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Morales?
Yeah, and just to add to that, I mean, you know, first of all, what Ms. H said was absolutely right. The fact that block clubs still continue to work hard to bring those events about, I mean, this is what builds community. It's ridiculous if someone says that this is not one of the most important parts of our city or identities of who we are. Every city I go to, they're impressed with our block clubs. They're impressed with our block club parties. And, you know, Councilman Padilla, if he cooks a mean weenie, why not mention it? You know?
I mean, what's wrong with that, right? What's up with that?
You know? So all that is good. All that is good. But aside from that, you know, I went to a barbecue over near First Street, and it's amazing how approachable you become as an elected official when you go to these events. You just are at like a home or whatever small meeting. You know, you end up hearing certain things. For instance, I didn't know there was a new sign at one of the schools locally in my area of Beulah Payne. Lights were flickering at night, late at night. The neighbors were concerned. Gives you an opportunity for them to tell you. You end up coming back to the office, calling the school district. They do whatever they can for you. The bottom line is those are the moments that matter. I'm sure all of my colleagues, including Mr. Padilla, Ms. Horton, everybody gets questions, and it's not only our opportunity to serve, but it's our opportunity to let them know what's going on, exactly what she said. Because, believe it or not, you know, when you hear it here, we really do have a sense of the pulse of the community. Why? Not because we're making it up, but because people are telling us really how they feel. You know, so that's what keeps us going up here. And, you know, the mayor, because he's the one at the forefront of so much. Unfortunately, he's the one that's going to get beat up. But hey, he can take it, you know. So keep doing it.
Getting beat up?
I'll just play it. But the truth is, that's what's going to happen in the next few years. But because he's at the forefront of so much of the stuff that's happening. So I just wanted to mention that, and we understand. So just thank you for coming out, positive or negative.
Councilman Das?
Skip the deal.
I'm doing that now.
Well, thanks, Mayor. At least you gave me time to catch my breath.
Okay. All right.
First of all, I have to agree with the city clerk and the rest of the council people. I had a wonderful time. I think we all went to all the same block parties. We may have been there at different times, but we all went there. And I beg to differ, a lot of business goes on there as well. I don't know about nobody else, but when I come to one of those block parties, I got to have a notepad and pencil because these people have questions that they want answered, and if I don't have answers, then they call my office and bug leash. So, and I also get ideas because they tell me what they want, and I'm able to do my job better because they engage with me. And one of the things that we don't seem to give enough credit to are some people who, like the mayor. I mean, he's the lead person, so he takes the beating. But we also need to give him credit when things come to fruition. Madison Square Garden just happened to come here and drop out of the sky. That's not true. So you need, I understand, when you're a leader, you're going to get beat up. That's just part of being a leadership. But let's also give him credit for assembling a team that's really serving us well. I mean, we got some of the best department heads. I compared to them any city in this country to the department heads that we have here now. So, let's give credit where credit is due. And I would really like to sit here as a new member of this council. I am so proud to be here. My buttons bust every time I come up here. I'm proud to be a part of this. We're going somewhere. And I want to thank all the staff members because they have taken me under their wing and they are helping me along. I didn't come here knowing everything. I knew some things, but these staff people have really helped me. And I want to say that in public, that I appreciate everything that you guys have done to help me do my job. I'm learning, and I will keep learning from you so that I can do my job, and thank you very much.
I'm going to do that. Councilman Padilla.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of comments. Number one is just a reminder, this Saturday, for those of you in District 2 or anywhere else in the Inglewood resident or business owner, we're going to be doing an iClean event, teaming up with our iClean program and with Republic Waste. We're going to meet from 10 to 12 at the ICOP Center at La Brea and Centinela to keep our community beautiful and remove some litter and some big items that are thrown around in the streets, such as sofas and mattresses, dressers. So we're going to be doing our part. So if you'd like to come out and help, we'll meet you at the ICOP Center at 10 a.m. On another note, I had a resident send me a letter about an issue they had regarding trying to refinancing a house they had bought with the city, and I brought that to the attention of Mr. Esparza and Ms. Pacheco, and they're working with that resident to address that. So I appreciate their work in making that happen. It's that type of leadership and attention that we give to our residents that helps prove that we're here to do the right thing right. So I want to thank them for that. Talk about learning, talk about training. I want to thank Mr. Falco. Last night in District 2 at our ICOP Center, I had a meeting with all our commissioners and board members for our district to provide training on what their role and responsibilities are as new commissioners for our city. And Mr. Falco, you did an outstanding job. Thank you so very much for providing that training. Everybody there truly appreciated it, and I appreciated you taking time out to do that, so thank you. Just want to touch real quick, I know we don't want to beat a dead horse, but gentleman talked about no movement, all talk in this city. I don't know where that person lives, but it can't be in Inglewood because we've been doing a lot. And so I'm not going to put up with that. The other thing is, remember, it's also on how you approach and how you send your message out here. I think that's one of the biggest hiccups, is sometimes people come up here and they want to discuss their concerns, but they get too emotional and they get dramatic, and it takes away from their message. So I just, caution folks, come up here, get your message out there. We want to hear what you have to say. We care about what's happening in our community, and we want to do what we can to make sure we fix anything that doesn't appear to be going right, but that we continue to move things forward and work together to do that. So I want to thank you for coming out today to be a part of our council meeting, and have a blessed week.
Okay, first of all, I want to clarify something. As much as I pushed for this third quarter review, I did not intend for it to be received and filed. I was looking ahead to the other agencies had to be open, so I appreciate Mr. Franklin and Councilman Franklin and the other councilmen that sometimes when I go awry, they tug my coattail. So team effort. And so you really can't divide us with these false little herrings. But I wanted to say for the first time, I agree with almost everything Ms. Austin said tonight. I have to tell you, I'm still in shock. I do agree that we do need to talk with people, and for anyone to say that we shouldn't go to, or the block clubs meetings, there's something we shouldn't talk about, I can't even believe that. I mean, that's an opportunity. See, everybody doesn't have time to come and sit and wait for a council meeting, but they love it when they have opportunity to talk to an elected official, the treasurer, the clerk, all of us, and they all let us know their concerns. And I will have to tell you this thing, though, universally, nobody I talk to evidences the concerns of about the 3 or 4 people that always talk here. I've never heard that. So I was beginning to believe, from my experience in the beginning, that what I heard here was a barometer of the community, but actually the community is the barometer of the community. And there are a lot of people that are proud of where we're going. And unlike what I heard here tonight from one person, they do think that Madison Square Garden investing $100 million in the Forum and it opening on January 15 is a big positive thing. They do agree that Hollywood Park tomorrow, which was likely going to be bankrupted, then now getting investors because of the Forum opening, and now are on the cusp of providing somewhere 7,000, 10,000 construction jobs in the next 5 to 7 years. They think that's a big thing and a good thing. And there are residents that believe that us being on the front page of 4 newspapers in 1 week, including the LA Times, is a good thing. So it's a positive thing. So, you know, what I do like about some of the people that come up, you know, because they present a perspective as they have the right to, it also gives us an opportunity to correct misperceptions. Because if you don't think that we're cheerleaders for the city, you're sadly mistaken. Every person that has a lot of money, they want to know how we are on our community. And so this is where I disagree with Ms. Austin. We do have an obligation to correct bad information that's put out. You know, I had heard one of our speakers get up and first say, no senior citizens were here, and then when she got up the second time, she said they were all senior citizens here. I thought that was odd. And then I heard about a school key from some years ago. I heard about pension obligations bonds that were let probably 7, 8 years ago. HUD monies lost that weren't lost. I heard about a cinder block bathroom that was put in years ago. And I heard about Ed Vincent, rest his soul. And then I heard we're a train wreck. Well, for everybody that watches television and gets information about the city of Inglewood, all those things are things like 7, 8 years ago. And what's true now is that the Forum will open on January 15th. What's true now is Hollywood Park tomorrow will open will start their development by the spring of 2014. What's true now is that we're going to make inroads into our 12% unemployment rate, 15% unemployment rate amongst African Americans here. That's true now. And it's okay. It's okay to celebrate that. Also, when Mr. Matthew mentions CalPERS, maybe he doesn't know that, but CalPERS, any unfunded liability it might have is on the state, not on the state, it's on CalPERS. It's a separate entity. The city of Inglewood pays money into that fund based on the people that are working here now to fund their retirements, but once people are retired, that's on CalPERS. So you can't put that on the city. You just, it isn't helpful to try and convince people that the city has all these problems. We are the ones that told you we have to deal with this unfunded liability as it relates to medical, and we are going to deal with it. And the reality is that bonds have been let as cities let bonds to do various things over the years, and yes, we do have those obligations. I doubt they aggregate to $1.2 billion. We couldn't afford the interest on $1.2 billion every year. But yes, there are bonds outstanding. So no one's soft pedaling anything. What we're doing is telling you a full picture. And I know that there are some people that almost wish for doom. It's so odd because if you live here and you want the city to progress, then you protect your city and you try to accentuate the positive. Now, you don't have to, but I'm going to tell you that people that are invested in a location, that believe in their city, that's what at least they try to balance it. Miss Austin, I compliment you again. At least you try and balance it. So I'm just so proud to be part of this city and this council and everybody up here on this dais that works together with one unified goal: to improve the property values, the revenues for this city, job opportunities, and prosperity here in the city of Inglewood. So with that, I want to close this meeting in the name of McSherrill Benson, wife of Virgil Benson, and in the name of James Artie Salyard. Mr. Salyard was employed by the city in 2000 as a recreation leader. He worked at Darby Park until his health began to fail in 2011, and he passed last Wednesday. And we're adjourned.